welcome to Rubbin Minds. My name is Hero Daniels. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and I hope that you're truly having a great day. We have a great show for you today, so sit back, relax, and you definitely enjoy today's show. This past week has really been dramatic, from the Wike Fubara political saga down to the presidential yacht, which turned out to be a naval vessel that they were trying to acquire. But the big question on most Nigerians' mind, is why was this particular presidential yacht not put in the defense budget? But we're going to talk about that much later on in the show. Right now, we want to spotlight certain individuals that have contributed immensely to the private sector. With me in the studio, I have the prestigious The Future Awards Africa winners. The Future Award Africa winner for education, Uchechi Roches. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I also have Lukman Shobowale, who is the Future Awards Africa winner for entrepreneurship. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Daniel.
Both of you look absolutely stunning. I was beginning to feel a bit underdressed for the occasion. So I'm going to quickly start with you, Uchechi. Quickly introduce yourself. Of course, we know you already, but highlight the work that you do.
Okay, thank you so much, Daniel. My name is Uchechi Roches. I am from Imo State. I'm the Director General of Roches Foundation. Basically, Roches Foundation is an international organization. We deal mostly with education of children from the less privileged communities. We've been in existence for about 26 years now. Trained well over 35,000 children locally in Nigeria, but we also have the international school, which is the African College, where we train children from all African countries. And basically, the whole idea is just to ensure that no child is left out in the race towards education and prepare the child for to compete in the global stage, irrespective of their socioeconomic background. So that's what we do.
That is really incredible. Fantastic work. Lukman,
tell
us about your work.
I was beginning to wonder what I was going to say. I haven't listened to that impressive resume. My name is Lukman Shobowale, the co-founder and head of business development for Dukia Investment. Dukia Investment is a foremost Lagos realty. We are into development, brokerage, and construction. Our goal is to bridge the housing deficit, which is currently pegged at around 24 million housing units according to World Bank. At Dukia Investments, we are doing all we can to invent comfort, build smiles, and lead people home. We want to democratize the process of property ownership in Nigeria, and even we have some tentacles across, out of Nigeria and even beyond. At the moment, we are just a little bit above 2 years, going into 3 years, and we've been able to engage about 1,200 active youths on our, affiliate marketing team who pushes our products and then sells to the end users. We've also been able to develop more than 10 estates within, the axis of Lagos, Abeokuta, Ilorin, Ibadan, and we are moving to Abuja very soon. So, so far, the goal is to invent comfort, build smiles, and lead people home using real estate as a vehicle.
That is truly incredible. That is truly incredible. Now, for the viewers watching, like you said, impressive resume, and it all sounds so rosy, but I'm pretty sure that it's been very tough. The journey has been tough. Can you share some of those challenges that you've experienced in the course of your work, Uchechi?
Honestly, the challenges are immense, but I guess the major challenge will be the fact that we've been in existence for 26 years, and our goal has been to make sure that every child has education. The biggest challenge there is, in Nigeria, you still have basically like 11 million children out of school. So we're doing the much we can, but the major challenge is the fact that one organization, one man, one group of people cannot do it alone. We need collaborations from all stakeholders in the different sectors. So it's one of those things where you have to get a multi-sectoral approach to education and the illiteracy rate in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole. So that's the major challenge, just the fact that we still view education as an option in Nigeria and in Africa. What we need to know is that education is the cornerstone to which every government, every nation, every people revolve around. So we need to start giving it more attention, treat it with a business mentality rather than some sort of second-hand thing that we do.
Right.
So that's the major challenge. Aside from that, just convincing people in the rural areas the importance of education. Because truly, when you train a child, you train the whole community, because you break a cycle of poverty, right? So now they can fend for themselves. So we see that. We have 13 schools located across Nigeria. What we've realized with that is that it's not enough, right? So the foundation, for our next phase, we're looking into expanding to all states in Nigeria and possibly all countries in Africa. We've covered 24 African countries.
Wow.
So now we need to figure out a way to extend to all 55, because the race against illiteracy is one that cannot be stalled.
Wow, that is truly incredible. And it's all of this without the support from the government. It's just the foundation.
Yes.
Quite challenging, I must say. Look, man, amongst housing deficits, there are lots of challenges that bedevils the real estate industry. The basic common man almost cannot have access to housing. What are some of the challenges that you also face in your industry?
I mean, time would not permit us to actually discuss all the challenges, because I mean, there are enough challenges to discuss.
Yeah.
But as it concerns what we do, I think one of the basic, things that affects, the industry at the moment is, number one, the deficit is big, and because of that big challenge, it has created a lot of opportunities for people like us to actually also thrive in that space. I think one of the major things that, I think that is bedeviling the industry is the process of title, documentation. When you want to buy a property right now, according to the Land Use Act of 1972, invest the power for every property in the state in the governor. So you see that a lot of people that want to buy the property directly may have some bottleneck or the other because of the red tapeism involved in, ensuring that the title is being perfected. Sometimes you might have your documents at, the government secretariat for years without being able to transfer title. And we know that there is a huge housing deficit, and people now want to buy a land to build by themselves, and they are still not able to do so. In the market as we speak, every year, according to Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, they said that they inject about 450,000 housing units in the economy, and we have about 24 million housing units. And if you are encouraging developers like us to even do a lot in that space, it means that government must actually make the process of documentation and title perfection as seamless as possible. So I actually encourage government to automate this system, because I mean, some people have become principalities at government agencies to ensure that you will not get it done until you pay certain amount. So if we are out for the common man, if the goal is, because I mean, shelter should be a fundamental human right, but it's not so in Nigeria. Recently, I was out with one of my friends to a place they call Morocco in Iwaya, just behind Yaba there, and we saw people living on floating waters, and you have the challenges with government coming to pester them and disturb them. People like that, what government need to do is not to attack them or say go away. Government should look for ways to make that place sustainable, because I mean, at the end of the day, that place accommodates about more than 100,000 families.
Right.
So if government should push them out of that place, it's going to affect them. Another thing that government needs to do, and that is bedeviling the industry, is financing. Because if you look at it right now, there's nothing like mortgage in Nigeria. So an average person wants to buy a house now. If you say there's nothing like affordable housing. So if you want to buy a property right now, the minimum you can spend for something affordable, something decent, let's say 30 million naira. What's the average wage? What's the average wage in Nigeria? We are still talking about 30,000 minimum wage. We are still saying no. Even if you say 150,000 minimum wage, the truth is that it's not enough. Sure. And then there's nothing like mortgage to enable people to pay. I went to a country where I had the opportunity to do something for a while, and I am entitled to mortgage, and they told me that I can pay over 30 years duration. This does not exist in our country. So if that is not existing, then it means that the process of property acquisition should be seamless, and government should also play a major role, like we have in the time of Latif Jakonde, where they were building, affordable housing like we have in Ethiopia, like we have in Morocco. So government should look at those space, invest and inject money into the space to ensure that developer has enough financing.
Look, man, I
told you there are enough challenges.
I feel the passion. I feel the passion, and I now understand why the Future Awards Africa deemed it fit to give you this particular prize. There are lots of platforms out there that are very observant in terms of what the private sector is doing, but there are not a lot like the Future Awards Africa. It is one of the most coveted awards, one of the most coveted awards. How did it feel, Uchechi, when you got the email or however they contacted you when you realized that you've been selected, or you've been nominated rather, for the prize for education. How did it feel that your work has been recognized?
So I was truly honored. I think that was the first step. I was truly honored. But more importantly, I think more than how it made me feel, I think it's how it made the beneficiaries of Rocha's Foundation feel. I got what I thought was the most immense support and messages and just congratulatory messages from the beneficiaries of the foundation. I remember just this one story. There's a boy from Niger, Hassan, who will be trained for 6 years. So now he's a graduate, from a very poor background. And he came up to my office and he said, "Sister, you see, it took a while, but they've recognized us." And that word "us." So I think the future awards, what they don't realize, or what they might realize, is that when they honor one person's silent work, it affects the life of thousands, right? So he wants to one day get the future awards. And the reason why is because he feels, okay, it's an authentic platform, because they pick up the likes of Lookman and myself, and they say, "You're doing this thing in silence. Well, let us try and make sure that people can see." And I think that's what's powerful about the Future Awards. It goes beyond one person. I mean, I was truly honored and I was happy, but more than that, it's just the inspiration and the ripples that it's going to have across generations to come.
I like the fact that you said that the Future Awards is very authentic, because if you look at the nominees and the names you see on the nominees list, you'll see that this is not a popularity contest.
Absolutely.
It has absolutely nothing to do with how popular or how many Instagram followers one does have. They genuinely do their due diligence and they search out for individuals that are making incredible milestones in their career. Look, man, how did you feel?
Well, before I speak about my feelings, I think I want to share in a sentiment that the platform is authentic. From the nomination stage to it's not that kind of award where people will just go and vote. I mean, it's not a majority kind of thing, because majority can be wrong. They have juries who the selecting process. I'm not an award person per se, but I think for someone like me, it speaks a lot of volume, because after the award, a lot of people reach out to me. I'm like, well, I love what you're doing. He amplified the work that we do. And I also need to appreciate, Top T, because they actually endowed my category. That's the entrepreneurship category. So for me, I feel that it's a pat in the back for all the work that we've been doing. I shared the story of, on my award, like one of my speech when I got the award, I remembered like 2 years ago when we started our business and somebody wanted to give us 80 million, and he was asking for our neck. He wanted us to pay him about maybe 120%, in 1 year. And we said no. And over time, with the way we built our brand and the things that we've accomplished to the help of God, the same person came to us few days back and said that, he wanted to give us 3 billion and to go into construction at a very, very reasonable interest rate. So it means that, collectively, the work that we are doing, and I also want to give a shout out to my co-founder, Bayo Lawal. He was here last week. It's been recognized, and they have, we referred to Future Award as the Forbes of Africa. So indeed, I see it as a pat in the back. It's a brand that I'm glad to associate with, and so far I think since the award came, I've had some great followership. A lot of good people have been following me these days.
All right, thank you very much. Very quickly, because we need to go on a break. Uchechi, what next?
What next for me, what next for the foundation is simply to get to the next phase of innovative education. The world has changed and the education system cannot stay the same. So the foundation will be rolling out policies, rolling out projects that would ensure that the children from the less privileged homes can compete on the global stage. We're looking into AI, STEM, everything that the world is currently going towards. We need to actually ensure, and then just building the whole child, right? So emotional balance, relationship balance, everything that is usually out of the classrooms, we would ensure that that's put into the child.
All right, thank you so very much, Uchechi and Lukman, for coming on the show.